more easy and less of my like, little Cookie Monster meets the Hulk there.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
If you had $1 for every time you said, oh man, I rushed that shot, how much would you have? I know for me, I'd be making videos for my private island.
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
And if you've done that before, you probably also know that saying, don't rush it, don't rush it, telling your brain this stuff doesn't work every time. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about 4 things you can do that aren't just telling your brain, don't rush it, that will help you stop rushing. They definitely help me, and I guarantee that they will help you too, or your money back, which, since this is free, hopefully, please don't write to me asking for money. Hey, what's up? I'm Manu. Welcome to the channel. So let's get right into it with number 4, which I like to call monkey see, monkey do. So before the round, or maybe even during the round, if you're not playing a super competitive round, it's not legal to do this during tournaments, but you can do it on your Sunday rounds with your buddies. Watch a good video of a pro swinging whose tempo you really like. So for me, it's this video of Tiger when he's 16, I think 16 or 17, playing Riviera for the first time. And just watching him warm up on the range, I think this is beautiful tempo. I think he's got like the perfect feel of like how I want to feel when I'm throwing the club. And so I watched this video on repeat a bunch of times because I'm not just telling myself to slow down, I'm showing my brain what to do. The monkey see, monkey do thing works really well. So if you want to do this, you could watch this video. I've linked it down in the description, or there's a bunch of videos you can grab off the internet and make your own little compilation for yourself and maybe watch them before your round or have them running in the background in your cart while you're like playing the round. But something to like train your brain of what a good tempo feels like and how it feels to like hit a nice solid shot without having to rush through the whole thing. There's a really good post, which is Fred Couples swings over the ages, and if you watch Fred Couples swing, like the tempo is just beautiful the whole time. So powerful too. So you could watch that video. I've also linked that down below in the description, down below in the description. You could watch that, or you can make your own. And when you're making your own, just finding people who swings you like. For me, I really like Nelly Corda's swing, Tiger, obviously, and then anybody else who I see. Sometimes I want to throw in a couple of Ernie Els videos there too, because Ernie Els has this beautiful, you know, nice, easy swing. There's that video of like VJ saying Fred Couples and Ernie Els together, just like, I think it's called Tempo Town. It's beautiful. So things like that, something like that that tells your brain, this is what we want to be doing. And it's not telling yourself by words, which we forget and move on and then we try to kill the ball, but a little bit more kind of feeling what it's like, showing them what we want to do, showing that brain what we want to do. So a little bit more like, oh, if I watch Tiger's swing from the Riviera Open back in the day, it kind of looks more like this. You know, more easy and less of my like, all right. Little Cookie Monster meets the Hulk there.
Cookie!
All right. So after doing the monkey see, monkey do, when you get to the ball, so before every shot, one of the things that we can do is take slower practice swings. So for a lot of us, especially amateurs as we're getting into it, one of the things we tend to tell ourselves is, I want to make the exact same practice swing as the shot I'm about to hit so I can preload that. So if I'm hitting this is an 8-iron, say I'm hitting this 145 yards, I want to hit, this is my practice swing. This is my practice swing. There's no technique in that. There's no really good tempo or anything in that. If you watch all the pros, you'll notice that all of them, maybe I've missed one or two, but all the ones I've seen, they all take slow practice swings. And they're not focused on trying to get the right speed in their practice swing. They're focused on having their hands, their body move in the way they need to hit whatever kind of draw, fade, high, low, whatever shot they're hitting. So what's interesting is the only guys who are making full speed practice swings are the long drivers. So maybe if you're playing for the long drive on a hole, yeah, make a full speed practice swing to like preload your body to hit it hard. But long drivers have 8 shots to get one ball in, you know, the fairway or the range. Versus for pros, because every shot matters, it's interesting for them, they're focused more on technique with the hands, with the body, making sure they kind of feel what that feels like. And this also kind of tells the brain, I care more about technique than trying to kill this ball, because technique is what's going to help this ball actually go where it needs to go. So a little more technique, you can even, without having to like launch out of your shoes, you can still hit the ball a pretty long way. Didn't register, but that went like 400 yards. You couldn't tell. That was really good. And on to number 2, which is when you get to your ball, slow down. Now, I know we're not out here trying to play 5-hour rounds at our Muni. Like, we already have enough slow golfers without us contributing to the problem. And so what we're doing is we're rushing between shots, or at least we're moving fairly quickly. Especially when you're putting a ball in the hazard, maybe every like 3rd or 4th hole, and you got to spend an extra 5 minutes looking for it. And then you don't find it, and then you're flustered, and all those other things happen. Everything kind of speeds up. And especially like you're carrying your bag, maybe you're like moving quickly between shots, maybe you're walking uphill, downhill. So what ends up happening is by the time you get to the ball, let's just pretend I've got my bag on. So I'm carrying my bag, I put my bag down, Now my heart rate's elevated, all these other things are going on. I'm like moving fast. Everything in my body is like go faster because my heart rate's going. Now the most important thing I think I can do at this point is slow everything down. The way I like to think about it is I like to walk fast between shots. So hit a shot, get moving. So maybe walk at 100, 150% between shots. But when you get to the ball, slow everything down. And so, you know, you can kind of almost feel like as you put your bag down, everything just goes whoa, 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 whoa. And from here, everything's about being calm. And so one easy thing you can do physically is just once the bag comes down, just walk slower and breathe and walk. And that will help because if you're walking quickly, if you're playing speed golf, I don't know how those guys do it, but once you put your bag down, you come up here, if you're ready to go, unless you're someone with a very slow swing normally or like a reasonable tempo swing, you're probably trying to hit this ball so you can keep going. That's not really gonna help. So a better answer is to slow everything down once you arrive at the ball. And especially if you're going through your process of like think box, feel box, play box, it's much easier to be able to do that. So the way I like to think about it is less from like a slow everything down perspective. I slow down kind of here, but when I'm with the ball, I don't want to be slow, I want to be calm. Calm, I think, is a much better word for how I feel like I will not rush over the ball. And so here, as I get to it, I go through my pre-shot routine. I'm not trying to go slow, I'm just trying to go calmly through my pre-shot routine. It's the whole slow is smooth, smooth is fast model that the Navy SEALs taught us. So nice and easy. You know, and finish that whole thing, keep it going. Finish the whole backswing, which we'll talk about next. So that's number 2. And the great thing about that one is, again, it's not telling your brain just go slower. It's actually doing things. It's setting everything up. It's physically moving your body in a more calm, easy way when you're over the ball versus when you're possibly rushing between shots. I think this is especially important once you hit a ball into a hazard or maybe you hit a ball into a place where you're looking for it, because after you find it after 2 minutes and 59 seconds, now you feel like you're 2 minutes and 59 seconds behind everybody else. And so at that point, it's still important. The most important thing after hitting a bad shot is not to hit another bad shot. So at that point, I think it's doubly important to just take your time, relax, calm down, and hit a good shot. And actually, it's something, if you watch the pros, you'll see them, they take time in choosing, you know, what kind of shot they want to hit off the fairway. But you'll notice they take actually slightly more time when they're in a bad position, when they're out of position. They'll be thinking about all the different options. Sometimes they take a little too long, for sure, but generally they do a really good job of taking their time. And I think that's important, right? There's a famous line from Tom Kite, at least I heard it from Tom Kite, which is a double bogey is a bad shot followed by a stupid shot. And one of the things that causes stupid shots is moving fast. So I think calming down and not moving too fast will really help over there. All right, and here we are on point number 1, which is just finish your backswing. I've heard this at times both from Ernie Els and from Rory McIlroy, and I'm sure many other folks talk about this too. Rushing happens when we basically cut corners on our swing. Because if you finished your whole swing, you went all the way back, all the way through, you probably wouldn't be rushing, you'd probably be in, you know, maybe swinging a little bit hard, but it's less rushing, it's more just kind of overdoing it. Versus I think for most of us, rushing happens when you kind of rush through this part of the swing. So, you know, you're setting up, et cetera, you gotta hit, you gotta hit, you gotta hit, and then you're like, maybe like, you know, a little, I really hope you don't have shots like that, but you get where I'm coming from. And so what happens is we don't finish the backswing, and then all the timing is off as you're coming back to hit the ball. So you start here, you're here, your body starts moving a little too quickly, now you're stuck, and you gotta like race your hands down to catch up, right? Because there's a part of your mind that's going, go faster, go faster. So the easiest thing to do here is just make sure you finish your backswing. And this is what Ernie Els talks about in terms of when he's having trouble, he makes sure he's just finishes, like get all the way to the top of his backswing, wherever that might be. This doesn't mean have a longer backswing. Longer backswings generally don't help that much, but at least get to the back or the end of your backswing. So you can set your body up to kind of hit. My favorite analogy for this is a baseball pitcher. So if you're a pitcher and you're trying to rush and you're kind of going here instead of going all the way back, there's gonna be no power. You're probably not gonna throw the ball as fast. May not be online, you know, all these other issues are gonna happen. So same thing here, take your time, go all the way to the back. So nice and calm. You've already made your like, you know, easy practice swings, feeling what's happening. You can practice finishing your backswing in those and all the way to the top. And then as you come through, just calm, finish your backswing before you hit the ball. It goes nice straight. I just like to say, you see all my balls a little bit to the right here. I think this thing is calibrated a little bit to the right. Either that or I'm gonna have some stuff to fix when I'm on the course next. Anyway, so the great thing about tip number 1 for the fourth tip, tip number one, finishing your backswing is it's something you can do physically, right? It's not something like, oh, don't rush. It's actually a different cue to your mind, which is something you can actually work on. Because don't rush is a little more like amorphous versus finish your backswing. Something fairly simple. You can go, okay, this is what finishing on my backswing feels like. So to summarize, those four things we just talked about. Number one, monkey see, monkey do. I really like this. I highly recommend this. If you don't do this already, just a great way to prime your brain before you're playing. Then number three is to make slow practice swings, slow down those practice swings, not trying to like replicate exactly the swing you're gonna have, but more focusing on the technique and maybe all the swing checkpoints you're thinking about, the swing thoughts you have. And number two was when you get to the ball, which is even before the practice swings, when you get to the ball, just kind of slow everything down because the heart rate and everything need to come down. Slowing all that down when we get here. And then number one, when you're here, just make sure you finish the backswing. And another thing you can like preload in your practice swing, finish that backswing coming through, come here, take your time, finish that backswing. And then you're gonna have the perfect, most unrushed shot of all time. That one's definitely a fade. Well, not that far off. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please send it to a friend and let me know with the buttons so that I know which of these to make next. Thanks for coming. See you next time. Ciao.